observed them. Well, they're good side, I must say. The pitch tomorrow will decide as to who carries the day. But to me as a coach, once I need to come up there, I have to prepare well to make sure by close of the day.
As we always say it in our local parlance, the pitch will decide. I grow on a form. Pitch the way decided. But there you see the coach of MEDEAMA, Evans Odetue. Very, very confident, Josiah, that he's going to get all the points because he's beaten them before in the CAF Confederation Cup. But things have changed. They are not the same side as they were some time back. But MEDEAMA have also changed a lot in terms of personnel. We could only hope that they wouldn't be complacent on the day. But just like you rightly said, MEDEAMA have gone through a lot of transformations, a lot of heartbreaks. Number 8, you're a Bema pound. Yeah, the body stature over there. But talking about MEDEAMA, we've seen them, miss out on the league title a couple of times before eventually laying hands on it finally last season. And I think when they played against Yanga a couple of years ago, about 7 years ago, you can't compare that team to this team. Yes, that team was a star-studded team, MEDEAMA team, right after they burst onto the scene. But then this is a different MEDEAMA side, and I'll tell you that, and I can say this emphatically, that I believe this MEDEAMA side has got more quality than that team. They have more quality now. But then so can you say, or you can say same also about the younger team. After 7 years, they've also, transformed the team. They're also one of the powerhouses in African football. Yes, they are yet to win any of the African club competitions. But then, see, consistently, they always make it to either the CAF Champions League or the Confederations Cup. That should tell you how consistent they've been. MEDEAMA hasn't been there since the last time they bowed out of the competition in 2016. In that year, they found themselves in the same group as Yanga and some other teams over there. They failed to even qualify. I think Mo Bajaya was also in that group, 7 years ago when MEDEAMA played against Yanga. So that should tell you that both teams have grown. But then the only thing, or the only warning we can echo to this MEDEAMA side and coach Evans Odetue is the fact that they shouldn't be complacent. Yes, we've beaten CR Belouizdad, but this competition has lots and lots of upsets, and surprises in it. We've seen Juan, what was the name? Galaxy. Yeah. Travel all the way to Morocco to win Galaxy. Exactly. So this competition is full of surprises. We're just hoping that they can keep their feet on the ground. They just have to go. Konkoni. Yeah, I think is that Konkoni, teacher Konkoni over there. They can't go for the win because yes, after Yanga drop points at home to Al Ahly. Yeah, Hafiz Konkoni is on the bench for them. He used to play for Bechem United. He's been handed a spot on the bench due to some psychological reasons, I believe. So the last 2 games that Yanga played, Hafiz Konkoni did not play. I mean, the last 2 games in the CAF Champions League. Then young Africans meet a Ghanaian side, and all of a sudden, Hafiz Konkoni is on the bench. I mean, they want him to write a beautiful story. But psychologically, of course,
on the team that will say, because he knows a lot about MEDEAMA Football Club. He has played against them. He has scored against them. So he knows a lot of it. Just last season in the Ghana Premier League. So the current MEDEAMA team, he has played against most of these players in the Ghana Premier League. So it's very good, say, coach. The match day squad against a Ghanaian side in the Champions League. So the coach has done a great job. Maybe he may come in the second half to play at least 15-20 minutes, at least have a feel and some experience about the Champions League. Okay,
Jigu Diarra there, the goalkeepers. There you see him warming up with the goalkeepers trainer. But I do 5-3-2 formation. Clearly, Coach Miguel Camondi wants to protect his back first and see if he would have a chance. Because over 5 back there means you're coming to defend your lines.
When you are with the ball, they will join the attack. Yeah. The wing backs.
Of course, against Al Ahly, I saw Kwasi Atahula and Kibagi bumping forward. Absolutely. At will.
So you can see on paper it's a 5 back. But with the ball, the lateral defenders will help the midfielders in terms of their productivity in the midfield play. So they'll join the attack. But when they are not with the ball, that is where the 5 players will defend from the side. So it's a strong lineup for a team who is going to a away game in the Champions League.
Now, on the bench for MEDEAMA is Abdul Jabbar. Kofi Asma is also on the bench. Godfred Aban on the bench. God knows Jack Pasu on the bench. Zaria Fojo is also on the bench for them. Kudiwashi Mihachi. He has not played any game in the CAF Champions League so far for them. He is a Zimbabwean and he was signed by MEDEAMA, but he's yet to play. Bernardino is also on the bench. Joshua Ajimai, Benjamin Baturi, and Nana
Kofi Babel. So a very strong bench for MEDEAMA Josiah. And bench can win you a game.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes, when the games get very cagey, team or managers will just turn to the bench and see how they can impact games. And that's why you have as many as, the players you have on the bench. But then there are some key players on the bench that I believe they could fall onto if things should go, unexpectedly. One of those players will be Joshua Ajiman, who always makes an impact whenever he comes off, the bench. Goddos Jakpasu is also a very, very experienced guy, who plays so well whenever he's given the nod. But then, just like you mentioned, there are quite a lot of players on the bench. There's another Fojo or two on the bench.
Azaria Fojo.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of people will be hoping to see what he can add, to the frame with regards to, if he should get the nod to play.
Okay, so for young Africans on their bench is also Metacha Mnata, the goalkeeper. Fred Gift is on their bench. Ali Kibuana Shomari is also on their bench. Mudathe Nayaya is also on the bench. Dukapel Moloko is also on the bench. Zawadi Mwaya is also on the bench for them. Stefan Aziki, Salom Abubakar, and Hafiz Wunta Konkoni. We are sure say the okay. Bechem United, they scored about 15 goals for Bechem last 2 seasons, right?
A teacher by profession.
Yeah, last 2 seasons in the Ghana Premier League. And Onya moved to young Africans last season. Yeah. He scored 15 goals. He's not really had game time. Or more be CAF Champions League. But
I think after Abednego Tete, he was the next top scorer in the Ghana Premier League.
It was before Abednego Tete.
Yes.
After Abednego Tete, he was the second scorer in the Ghana Premier League.
So it tells you MEDEAMA Football Club.
But you think it's psychological? Ojedi say it's psychological. There are psychological reasons backing his inclusion into this team. Because of Mobi, he's not had game time at younger.
Obviously, MEDEAMA players who have Hafiz Konkoni, even training with the younger team, they know this is our own. This is a Ghanaian player. He knows a lot about the MEDEAMA Football Club. So he will talk to them about this team. So I'm sure it's one of the reasons why coach decided to say, even though he's not playing Sam, he needs to add him to the Madi squad.
I saw the approach from MEDEAMA against Belouizdad. It was one that was attack from the onset. What should happen against Yanga?
You wouldn't change the system. You wouldn't change the approach that won you the last game, even under some, very, very tough, circumstances. You wouldn't want to change it. And it's a setup that tells it 4-3-3, with very, very fluid, trio of attackers over there. You have Fojo, you have Lobuti, you have Soa playing through the middle, and that is what you need. It's full of attack, and it's how these players complement each other up front. We know Fojo very, very nifty. See, quick, feet. Whenever he has the ball, he knows how to cut back, and he has this, trademark runs he does into the box, and they'll be relying on that, and that's why Yanga are trying to be very, very cautious, going with a 5-back at least, so that each and every time Fojo has the ball, they can double up on him, try to stop him in his tracks. That's what they are trying to do. They wouldn't want to, throw caution to the wind in the very early stages of the game. And see, they know that MEDEAMA have conceded 4 goals in the last 2 games. That's an average of 2 goals per game. Yeah. That's how many goals or the number of goals they are conceding in the Champions League. So they know that they have a leaky defense. But it's all about how they exploit those defenses. Are they going to make good use of the fullback? I don't expect MEDEAMA to hand over possession to this younger side, because if they do, they might end up hurting them. They need to keep the ball more and try to use the spaces they get.
So on your screens were the games that MEDEAMA have played so far in the CAF Champions League. They started with a game against Al Ahly in Cairo, where things did not go well. It went south as we lost by 3-0. But then our home game against the Barbara Sports Stadium, where the 12-man backing us, that is the Kumasi fans, MEDEAMA were able to pull a 2-1 victory against Belouizdad, and they would want to continue today. For young Africans from Tanzania, they also started on the bad notes, where Belouizdad beat them by 3-0, and their last game in Tanzania ended 1-1 draw against Al Ahly. It was Al Ahly that scored first, and young Africans came back. So it's a very important match for young Africans, because should they get anything apart from a win today, their chances of qualifying into the next stage of the competition becomes slimmer. And for MEDEAMA, a win would mean that they are a step closer to qualifying for the next stage, even though there is a lot to do in terms of playing Al Ahly here in Ghana and also playing Belouizdad away from this country, which would be a difficult task, especially when you are playing in North Africa. We've already been there once, and we know the task ahead. But today, it is all about MEDEAMA and young Africans. Jean Vital was taking off Nanedu against Al Ahly. and many attributes MEDEAMA's defeat to him being substituted. We saw him play against Belouizdad, and he was fantastic. We talk about Jonathan Soa, but Jean Vital in that middle, he gives them a lot of balance.
I told you the backbone of this MEDEAMA team is their three-man midfield. Those three players in that midfield, Mante, Baba, and of course, Jean Vital, workaholic, can work throughout the 90 minutes. That is the reason why in the first 65 minutes of the game against El Ali Football Club, even in Egypt, Ali struggled to score from that minute. And of course, their game at home, Belouizdad was trying very hard to score from an open play. So it tells you those midfielders work very hard for MEDEAMA Football Club to break that midfield. We have strong men in the midfield of your team to break that midfield. So I think that is the reason why Jean Vital has become a key player in this MEDEAMA team. I'm sure today too we are on his best days when it comes to African football.
Yes, Jonathan Soa is in the team, and they'll be looking at him or banging their hopes on him to score. But then Daniel Lomote, he's played in Algeria before for ESATIF. He scored against Belouizdad, and is also another attacking threat for MEDEAMA.
Yeah, of course, and fortunately for him, he scored already, in the competition. He had their first goal, or their first ever Champions League goal, when he scored at the Bavaria Sports Stadium for them. And it was that goal that also propelled them, to the victory against Belouizdad. Mutala is not, sometimes it's not just about the quality, but then it's about the experience of the player. This player has really roamed. He's taught all of Africa. He's gone to North Africa, just like you said. He's had stints with them. He knows these people. Yes, Tanzania from, the eastern part of Africa, though. But then, sometimes you need a player who has a bit of a versatile background. Someone who has visited all these countries, played with different people, understands, this diverse, culture and all that. So
this from the Bavaria Sports Stadium. I think it's him, So the fans at the Bavaria Sports Stadium are always there to throw their support behind MEDEAMA, and which are whoever plays there. But Sunday, I'm sure they will be back, because there's a big one at the Bavaria Sports Stadium. It is the Super Clash, where Hartlepool will be hosting Asante Kotoko for the first time at the Bavaria Sports Stadium. There, it is going to be another big one. So we are all looking forward to that one. But today, the focus is on MEDEAMA as they come up against Young Africans. You said you were impressed with, hey, Dr. Kwame Che is also there, the former board chair of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. How do you say in the fee? Yes, but I'm happy all these big men are coming and throwing their weight behind MEDEAMA. They are all throwing their support behind MEDEAMA. And it's not a MEDEAMA thing. They see it as a Ghana thing. Yeah.
This particular weekend, it's all about Kumasi. The biggest game today at the Bavaria Sports Stadium. Nations FC against the league leaders, Indiana Stars, Dr. Kwame Che Sports Complex. And of course, the biggest game on our calendar, that is Kotoko has in Kumasi. So obviously, any big man in our game, by this time, will be in Kumasi to watch all these games.
Say hello. You are not a big man. Okay, so I'm reminding you that Al Ali would also be taking on Belouizdad at the same time that the MEDEAMA game kicks off. But that one will be live on Star Times at the channel 247, as well as Star Times Premium channel 246. That is where we are going to show the Al Ali and Belouizdad game. But MEDEAMA and Young Africans will be live on Max TV. That is what we are bringing you. We are a few minutes away from kickoff at that venue there. But can MEDEAMA take, so yes, so these are the games coming up, and that is on your screens there. MEDEAMA against Young Africans is what we'll be showing you live here on Max TV. Then Al Ali against Belouizdad on Star Times at the channel 247, as well as Star Times Premium channel 246. Now, only team about that, it's about 7 years ago. You beat them by 3-1. The circumstances are not the same. That was at the Secondary Stadium. It was a lower level than the CAF Champions League. Would you still take solace from the fact that, I've beaten them before, so I can just go out there and brush them off?
I think I told you about complacency, and I think that's one thing they need to advise themselves, to desist from, to be complacent. Yes, you've beaten them. Both teams have had, their own adventures. They've all gone through, certain changes and all that before getting to where they are currently. When MEDEAMA first played them, they had not won the league yet. That was in 2016. They were yet to win the league. It was on the FA Cup ticket. They booked the place in the Confederations Cup. Now they've won the league. They are league champions. All these players have a different mentality. That's why I just oppose these two teams, and I feel they are two different eras. But they need not to be complacent. They should see this Young Africans team as a different team, as a more, you know, advanced team with more quality, because now they are looking for talent. See, they are fishing for talent all over the continent. Now they are buying players, they are motivating players, they are doing everything it takes, you know, or every club, everything a big club would do on Africa or on the continent to try and get or build what could be a dynasty or anything. So I think they are playing some good football, yes, but then MEDEAMA shouldn't write them off as the team they beat 7 years ago at second D. There's a different team.
Now, whenever MEDEAMA are playing, I mean, Obiaka, Jonathan Soa, and other players, there's one player that I keep an eye on. I feel he's a gem. I think if MEDEAMA would get a penalty, it is through that player. If they will win a free kick in and around the 18, it is that player, Derek Fojo. I mean, as young as he is in devastating form for MEDEAMA. I
think from last season, he has been one of the brightest spots in the MEDEAMA team, especially when he's cutting in from the left side of the midfield. The Tenobeka is typical number 11. No? That is the role Derek Fojo normally plays and make sure he cuts in inside the 18-yard box. And Lomote and, of course, Jonathan Sowa up front. So it tells you the up front is solid. And this is a team, I'm tipping them to get a first goal in the first half because, you know, it's an attacking team with a packed midfield that will protect them in the midfield position for MEDEAMA Football Club. So I'm expecting him to do a great job for MEDEAMA Football Club. And this, a typical, you know, an African side, you normally use the strength to play in most of these games. So the presence of Derek Fojo will be key for MEDEAMA Football Club in today's game. And I'm expecting him to do a lot together with Jonathan Sowa and, of course, Daniel.